AITA for cheating on my wife. First of all, I know I'm not perfect, but please hear me out. I don't know where to start, so I'll just get the elephant in the room. Out of the way. I've 29M been cheating on my wife, 31F, for a little over a year now, with another woman, 20F, that I think I love. My wife and I met in college, UK. I think that's high school in America, and dated for about 2 years before I proposed. Things were smooth for almost a year before my wife seemed to change. She was constantly rude, nagging at me for anything, making belittling comments. I began to spend more time at work to avoid her constant negativity. She was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder and bipolar disorder. Still, I was sure we'd work through it, so I stayed with her. I believed I still loved her. 2 years after her diagnosis, my dad died in a car crash. While I was distraught, I couldn't help but notice that my wife seemed almost glad. She'd never mentioned an issue with my parents, but any time I seemed sad about it, she'd say something like, "It's for the best," or "You should get over it soon." My brother took his loss harder than I did and turned to alcohol. As a favor, I took him in when his landlord turned him out. I work a lot, but my wife owns her own business and often works from home. I wrongly assumed that I could leave the two of them alone together. But while I was away, they would have sex. I found this out from a neighbor who walked in on them when asking for a parcel. I also later found out he had been stealing from us as well. As any sane person would, I kicked him out of my home. I tried to file for a divorce. But my wife went through an awful depressive episode lasting almost a month. I dropped the ideas about a divorce. For a while, things seemed to go back to how they were when I was 20. Things were going great at work and I was climbing the ranks. We'd just moved into a new house closer to my work. My wife had begun branching out and now owned 2 or 3 shops in the city. She was on a new medication that made her a much more pleasant person. Our sex life was great, and then we found out she was having a baby. I was ecstatic. I love kids. My wife and I had always wanted a kid, but every time we'd tried, it hadn't worked. Soon enough, our son was born. Over the course of his first couple of months, I began to have doubts that he was really my son. I put this off as first kid worries or whatever and continued with my life. Until one evening, my wife sat me down and told me the kid was my brother's. Her reasons were that she knew I'd always wanted a kid and that our DNA was too close for it to make a difference. Never mind the fact that meant she was sleeping with my brother again. See next video for part 2 and don't forget to like and subscribe to us Cheating Love Stories.